I was about 7 years old, and my brother was 10. Our dad worked out of town, so most nights it was just me, my brother, and our mom at home. The layout of our upstairs was burned into my memory. My parents' bedroom, to the right at the top of the stairs, my brother's room down a short hallway to the left, and my room at the very end across from the bathroom. At both ends of that hallway were old windowed doors we never used. One led to a balcony over the front yard, the other to a back porch. I was a light sleeper back then, so I always noticed when my mom or brother got up to use the bathroom. But one night, as we were heading to bed, my brother stopped and whispered something that stuck with me ever since. "I'm gonna try to go to the bathroom before I sleep. The past few nights, I've been too scared to walk down the hallway. I keep seeing a man wearing stripes at the end of it." My mom didn't react. Maybe she thought he was trying to scare me, or maybe she was just too tired. But I was terrified. From that night on, I would run from the stairs straight to my bedroom without looking down the hall, afraid of what I might see. Years passed. I was 18 when my mom and I were driving one day, reminiscing about a dog we had briefly named Max. Out of nowhere, she said, "Do you remember the time I opened the front door for the cops and Max ran straight to the kitchen?" I froze. We had never once called the police in all the years we lived there. I asked her what she was talking about, and she paused like she'd said too much. "Oh, that's right," she said. "I never told you because you were too young." One night, I woke up to noises outside my window. When I looked, there was a man staring in. She explained that when she turned on the lights, he bolted. She grabbed my dad's gun and called the police. They told her he matched the description of someone they were looking for in the area, a tall man with dark hair, wearing a striped shirt. He had escaped custody and was wanted for serious crimes. It wasn't until years later, well into my 20s, that it hit me. My brother hadn't been imagining things at all. We had unknowingly been living in a house that a dangerous fugitive had been watching for nights, and my brother saw him before anyone knew. I was 23 at the time, a student living alone in a small apartment near campus. I never liked living alone. I was scared of the dark, but my little apartment always felt safe. You needed 2 keys to get inside, one for the main building door and another for my apartment. I usually left a couple of lights on at night and kept a movie running on my laptop until I fell asleep, and I always locked my door. Always. Except for one time. One weekend, I'd been out drinking with friends. On the way home, I ended up sharing a taxi with a guy heading to the same area. He seemed about my age and said he was also a student. When we got to my building, we chatted briefly outside. He walked me to my door, said goodnight, and I went inside. I didn't think about it again. Weeks later, I decided to stay in for the weekend. I was watching a show in bed when I drifted off to sleep. Sometime in the night, I woke to a man's voice. At first, I couldn't make out the words. Then I noticed a shadow in my bedroom doorway. My heart started pounding. I couldn't scream, I just froze. I whispered, "Who are you?" The figure stepped closer and said, "Don't you remember me?" It was the guy from the taxi. He looked drunk. For a second, I felt relief that I recognized him. Then the horror set in. Why was he here? What did he want? "I was thinking about you," he said. "I turned off your lights and closed your laptop." He smiled. The thought of him moving around my apartment while I slept made me sick. I tried to stay calm. "How did you get in?" I asked. He said he rang my doorbell, but no one answered. Someone else in the building buzzed him in. He even walked into the wrong apartment first before finding mine. He must have seen the fear on my face because he suddenly turned to leave. "I think I should go," he muttered. As he stepped out, he looked back and said, "You should really lock your door." I shut it in his face, locked it, and cried until morning. I didn't call the police, but told my friends the next day. For months afterward, someone would ring my doorbell in the middle of the night. I never answered, but I had a feeling it was him. I never saw him again. I'm still relieved nothing worse happened. Now I always double-check my locks, and I've taken my name off my door. I've always had a strange phobia. It goes by a few names: scopophobia, ophthalmophobia, the fear of being watched. It's not just a fear, for me, though. It's a compulsion. Every time I see a doorway, a window, or even a shadowy corner, I imagine a face peering out at me, just staring. I picture what I'd do if it was real. Could I run? Could I fight? You'll soon find out why I have this fear. This happened back in June of 2016. My mom and I were living in a small apartment. No basement, no attic. But there was one small crawl space, hidden under the floor of my bedroom closet. I never opened it. Some people might have been curious, but my imagination had already filled it with every nightmare possible. At first, life there was peaceful, small but cozy, perfect for the two of us, until the noises started. Nothing major at first, just bumps in the night and scratching behind the walls. My mom brushed it off as rats. As long as they stayed inside the walls, I didn't mind. A week or two later, I'd gotten used to it. The noise even became weirdly comforting. I've never liked silence anyway, but one night, a new sound woke me up. A slow, rolling sound, just like my closet door sliding open. I squinted into the dark, but couldn't make anything out. Maybe it was just my imagination. There was only one way to know for sure. I reached over and turned on my lamp. I feel sick remembering this. It's been years since I forced myself to relive that night. I expected to see my closet full of clothes. Instead, I saw an eye. Not just an eye. The entire half of a man's face, barely visible through the tiny crack of my closet door. He didn't react to being caught. No smile, no fear, just watching me. My heart was hammering. I wish I'd screamed or grabbed something to defend myself, but I just stared back, frozen. Then I started to cry. Loud, ugly sobs. The man slowly opened the door wider. I could see his whole body now, but I don't want to describe him. Even now, I've spent years trying to forget that face. Then he said something, a single sound, that turned my blood to ice. Shh. Hearing his voice made it real. I couldn't pretend it was a dream anymore. I pressed my back against the wall. "It's okay," he said cheerfully. He knew my name. My name. That's when I finally ran. My mom was still half asleep when she called the police. She thought I'd imagined it. Of course, by the time they arrived, he was gone. All that was left was that crawl space. The police looked inside. I didn't. I still haven't. But they told us it was full of tally marks. They didn't say how many. Apparently, he'd been living down there. For how long? I don't know. They thought he was just a squatter, maybe a homeless man. They said he probably heard my name through the floorboards. But I've always felt like they didn't take it seriously enough. Since that night, whenever I see an open door, a window, or a dark corner, I still see his face. It's grown more distorted over time, but I can always make out his lips, pursed, as if he's still shushing me. I guess we didn't have rats after all. Thank you for watching and listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share these stories with someone who thinks they sleep too easily at night.